Good day, everyone. This is the last day of our Project Embrace, and I'm going to give you another session, which is about writing a research proposal. I know everyone is quite knowledgeable on doing and crafting a research proposal. I'm just going to give you a refresher and a walkthrough on the qualities and steps on writing it. So let us begin defining a research proposal. In 2009, Royce defines a research proposal, or sometimes termed as research plan, as a guide to help a researcher to focus and define the necessary things to do with the research problem. Also, Ramuthi in 2023 defines research proposal as a structured outline for a planned study on a specific topic. It serves as a roadmap, guiding researchers through the process of converting their research idea into a feasible one. So this indicates your research direction, which means that your research advisor may know how far have you done or how far can you go through on your research. This will also help you to determine the level of discipline that will need to employ for the research task. I know everyone's very familiar with the ISEF, the International Science and Engineering Fair, which establish guidelines for preparing your research plan or proposal. Conversely, the SRC, or the Scientific Research Committee, or the proposal for research must be approved by the RIB, or the Institutional Review Board, which offered by the student researcher in order to complete the project or research. A research proposal must have these given qualities. It must be a good and a valid research, or it must be contain a good and a valid research problem. And also, it must be smart. S stands for specific and well-defined. M stands for measurable. A stands for attainable. R, it should be realistic. And T, it should be time-bound. To effectively use the SMART framework in writing research proposal, remember that on a specific, it must clearly define the research question and objectives. What exactly are you studying? On the other hand, it should be measurable. Identify how will you measure outcomes or success. What metrics will indicate progress? It should also be attainable. Ensure your goals are achievable given your resources and time frame. Are the objectives realistic? And also, in terms of realistic, align your proposal with available resources and constraints. Is the scope appropriate? And lastly, it should be time-bound. Set a clear timeline for your research phases. What are your deadlines for each stage? A research proposal contains different components. Let us begin with the title. It must be specific and well-defined. It states the dependent variable and also the independent variable. And it identifies the parts of the treatment that will be used and writing the complete scientific names of organisms, if any. Remember that scientific names must be written on italicized and enclosed in a parenthesis. So the title of a research problem should precisely convey the main focus of the study, highlighting key variables or concepts. It must avoid vague language and instead reflect the scope and objectives clearly. A specific title helps readers immediately understand the research topic and its significance, which makes it easier to assess the proposal's relevance. Ultimately, a well-defined title sets the tone for the entire proposal, ensuring that it aligns with the research questions and methodology outlined later. Also, the title should be both concise and descriptive, encapsulating the essence of the research while remaining engaging. The functional relationship means that the title not only attracts attention but also conveys essential information about the study's focus and methodology. It should clearly identify the key components of the treatment or experiment, including any specific variables or factors involved. Additionally, using complete scientific names of organisms enhances clarity and precision, allows readers to grasp the specific subjects of study at a glance. A well-crafted title serves as a critical first impression, setting the stage for entire research proposal. Another component of a research proposal, it should also contain the student's name and adult sponsors. So this includes the name of the student researchers who will investigate on the field of study as well as the name of their school. I also highlighted the adult sponsors as it is essential on evaluating and identifying the risk on conducting research with their help, and the help of the other experts are very much needed to ensure the safety of the students or the persons conducting the experimentation. Adult sponsor may be your research advisor, the parent, or any professional knowledgeable of your chosen project. Another one is the abstract. Abstract is a brief summary of approximately 300 words. So this includes a research question, the rationale of the study, your hypothesis, the method, and the findings. So the rationale provides a foundational context for your research proposal, synthesizing key insights from your background research. It starts with a broad overview of the topic, highlighting existing knowledge and gaps in the literature. So the general description helps situate your study within the larger academic conversation. As you progress, the rationale narrows its focus, ultimately leading to a specific statement of your research objectives or questions. This transition not only justifies the need for your study, but also clearly articulates the significance of your proposed research and even setting the stage for your methodology and giving expected contributions. Now, let's have the research question. So similarly on the research question, it should be a strong research question with a given and underlying qualities of a research question. So what are those? So these are the characteristics of a strong research question. First, it must be focused on a single problem or issue. It should be researchable using the primary or even the secondary sources. It should be also feasible, wherein it be able to answer within the time frame and practical constraints. It should be specific, enough to answer thoroughly. It must be complex, which is enough to develop the answer over the space of a paper or even your thesis. And lastly, it should be relevant. Relevant to your field of study or even the society that gives more broad answers or investigation. Moreover, a research question is a broad question that shows what you were first pondering about. This also includes hypothesis. Remember that hypothesis is an educated guess about the outcome of your experiment based on background research and the variables to be tested. Hypotheses can be null, accepted, and rejected. Lastly, research question guides and leads the research to specific and a more visualized concept of your study. So you could use this hypothesis format with a given if, and then the IV, followed with a then followed with a statement about your dependent variable or DV. Here are some examples of hypotheses using the given format. First, we have if the concentration of microplastics in ocean water increases, then the biodiversity of marine life will decrease. So we have the IV, the concentration of microplastics in the ocean water. Then it gives what will happen, your DV, the dependent variable, which is the biodiversity of marine life will decrease. Another, if the duration of exposure to ultraviolet UV radiation increases, then the incidence of skin cancer in the population will increase. Lastly, another example, if the use of antibiotics in livestock increases, then the prevalence of antibiotic-resistant bacteria in human population will increase. You can use this format in stating your hypothesis. Moreover, let us also consider the idea of Karl Popper on his writings in the philosophy of science, wherein he mentioned that hypotheses should also be falsifiable, meaning that there is a possible evidence that would not count as consistent with the hypothesis. So hypothesis is considered falsifiable if it can be tested and potentially proven false through observation or experimentation. So this idea is only applied to null hypothesis. This means that there must be a conceivable scenario or evidence that could contradict the hypothesis. For example, consider the hypothesis all swans are white. So this hypothesis is falsifiable because it can be tested. If even one black swan is observed, the hypothesis is proven false. In contrast, a statement like, there are invisible, undetectable creatures living in my backyard or living in a certain area. It is not falsifiable because there is no possible evidence that could be used to demonstrate its falsehood. So Popper argued that for a hypothesis to be scientifically valid, it must make predictions that can be rigorously tested. The ability to be disproven is crucial, wherein it allows for the progression of scientific knowledge, as researchers can refine or discard theories based on empirical evidence. So this approach encourages critical scrutiny and open-mindedness in science. It fosters a continuous search for more robust explanations of natural phenomena. Now let us proceed on materials and procedure. It says here that materials reviewed must relate in purpose, method, and findings with the current study. So the purpose of the material should mirror the goals of your current study, ensuring relevance. For example, if your research investigates a specific treatment effect, the reviewed studies should also focus on similar interventions or outcomes. Regarding methods, the reviewed literature should employ comparable methodologies, which can validate your approach or even your experimentation, or highlight alternative strategies or even techniques. This comparison can enhance the credibility of your own study and offer insights into best practices. But then, let us consider several factors, like amount of time, amount of data to be collected, and these data that gathered should be written in your logbook. To effectively convey the soundness of your methodology, you need to provide comprehensive information that goes beyond traditional quantitative research requirements. So this means describing not only the data collection and analysis techniques, but also justifying your choices and addressing potential limitations. You should explain how you will recruit participants or how will you use such tools or techniques, what instruments will be used, what protocols that you will follow to ensure reliability and validity. And additionally, if your research involves qualitative elements, you must be able to elaborate on data coding or even any relevant methods. So remember that the method section needs to be more elaborate than what is required for traditional quantitative research. Now let us have your data analysis. Remember that data analysis describe the anticipated results and how they will contribute to research questions. It also gives potential limitations or the impact on the sample size on generalizability, wherein it also includes ethical handling of data that is given emphasis on your study. So, data analysis discusses what results you anticipate and how will you address your research questions. So these acknowledge potential biases or even constraints on your data analysis that could affect certain outcomes. It also outlined how will you handle data ethically, ensuring confidentiality and also providing informed consent. And describe how will you analyze results in relation to your research questions and the existing literature. Now, this is also a sample of gathering or coding your data analysis. Let's say you're having different treatments from sample 1 to sample 7, and you're going to take note of the differences in terms of height, its weight, and on a qualitative data, you will take note of the color differences, and even you will take measure on the mass. And also, on the other hand, you have your second treatment, same possible samples, and then also given with the data required. So you have to take note of the height with differences, the mass indicated with on comparing the samples, as well as with the qualitative data, which is indicating colors. Also, you must be able to give importance on the risk assessment, which is crucial and essential to make considerations for your safety and the safety of your test subjects and also the environment. Remember that must be completed before experimentation, and this is recommended to all projects. It may be required involving if there would be human participation, which I think that's a very limited one because we are not allowed to do human testing. And if it gives implication on hazardous chemicals, materials, or even devices, or even potentially hazardous biological agents. So this risk assessment form, as indicated on ICEF, must be accomplished prior to your experimentation. So researchers must be aware of potential hazards associated with your work. Consider the impact of your research on the environment as well, which includes minimizing waste, properly disposing of hazardous materials, and assessing the potential ecological consequences of your study, which should not harm ecosystems or even contribute to pollution. Lastly, the bibliography section. So this is the list of sources appended to a research paper for readers to consult if they wish to obtain more information. So we normally use APA format in writing bibliography. And generally, in citing sources, ideally, we could cite sources that is published in the past 2 to 3 years. Or even, we have the last 5 to 10 years, which the preferred one, especially in the fast evolving field like what we have in science and technology, as these sources are more current on newest discoveries. So always check specific guidelines for your discipline to ensure compliance and even relevance to your study. So now let me show you with an example of a project proposal or a research proposal. So I have shared with you a certain sample of a research proposal with the title Glass Production from Geothermal Scaling. So this proposal is retrieved from a certain module that we used when we had the pandemic season 2 years ago. So the name of proponents of or the students are stated here or indicated here with their project costing, then the significance of their study, what is the importance, highlighting with related literature, and also highlighting the concepts or the idea of using geothermal plants or the importance of geothermal plants, as well as the necessity or the essential use of glass in industrial product or industrial purposes. And also, it stated here the objectives. What is the objective or goal of the project or the study? And then for the methodology, it also included here with the different steps or even different procedures from acquisition of geothermal scalings to drying and pulverization, chemical analysis, washing, drying, and pulverization. Followed by the chemical analysis, preparation of batches, firing of batches, testing, and statistical analysis of data. And also don't forget to write the bibliography, where you cited sources, and this kind of research proposal, we could use a different way of writing it or showing research proposal or presenting a research proposal based on the given template in our division. As if you still remember, we use a different kind of format here or different template here when we had the Likha contest. So now I know and I believe that research advisors are now ready and equipped to write and craft your research proposal, as well as mentor our student researchers in providing and crafting their own research proposal. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening and have a great day.